Florida State stays hot in the portal, this time taking advantage of the rule where an incoming coach allows for outgoing players for a period of 30 days. Alongside Michael Langston, senior recruiting analyst, senior portal analyst for Warchant.com. My name is Tom Lang. And as you can see at the bottom of the screen, Noles Tide once again. Florida State takes from Alabama, gets linebacker Shawn Murphy out of the portal. Michael, what do you know about this young man? And this seemed to happen pretty fast.
Yeah, it did. A guy that he was a former five-star, a guy that previously visited FSU back when the Chris Marv days. He visited in high school, so he liked him a lot. I don't think their product was what he was kind of searching for, but certainly a guy that talent-wise fits that criteria-wise as far as playing a lot. That's probably not as high as I originally thought of they would go for criteria, but talent-wise, he brings a lot. And so they know this guy really well. Certainly have a lot of ties from the FSU staff that know this guy, that know what his skill set is. And I think that's a guy it seems like they made a push for. I'd heard he visited at some point on Sunday. They kept it pretty quiet, and then I think departed on Monday. And then obviously we got the decision and go from there. But certainly he adds a lot to that linebacker room, and I think that's what they wanted, to add more talent to that linebacker room. Certainly a guy that has length, that they can do a lot of different things as a linebacker. So I think this is a guy that they felt like they had to have in this class. And we've covered this before on the other commits that FSU really understands, like, there's a little limitations to what they can do in the May period. So I think they're trying to get as much of these done as they can, of guys they know fit and then that are sold on. And everything I heard coming out of that FSU visit was the connection was there, the fit was there, the culture and what he does and fitting into their linebacker room seemed to connect with everyone on the FSU staff.
So I looked up, Michael, because stats-wise, you're right, talking about, veteran, somebody who's proven it on the field in non-special team situations. You don't get that here with Shawn Murphy as a redshirt freshman this past year. I think he had 3 tackles in the field of play. He's a big special teamer, but we know that Alabama recruits, forgive my language, people, badasses. That's what they do. Yeah. And this is a consensus top 150 player. I looked up his recruiting profile dating back his class of 2022. A consensus top 150 player. In fact, in the On3 industry ranking, Michael, this is the number 6 linebacker in the country coming out of high school and the 65th best player in the country at 6'2", 225 pounds. Michael, if you're going to take a chance on a kid that hasn't played a ton between the lines when the defense is on the field, you're going to take a top 100 player that Alabama recruited. I think that's a pretty safe bet to make in terms of projection.
Yeah, and I think it's also a guy that they feel like they know as far as talent and skill-wise. And if you know that, then I think you're going to jump on it. And they certainly want to improve their linebacker room. And we've seen this before. I mean, even Malik Gibson didn't have a lot of great, eye-popping stats. But just because they didn't play at Alabama doesn't mean they're not good enough to play. It's just sometimes guys it doesn't work out, and as far as fitting there. So I think overall, like I said, this guy's previously visited FSU, so he's aware of what the FSU campus is. He's aware of certainly what FSU has done on the field. This is another one of those on-the-field products that I think benefits you compared to other schools that haven't had as much success on the field. I think that certainly makes you a more coveted thing. And these kids aren't stupid. They know FSU needs linebackers, and when a school has a need for something and the product's good, I think it's certainly not a risk to go out there a really talented linebacker that you feel you've evaluated closely enough that I have a sinking feeling that FSU's probably known about this guy potentially popping in and saying, hey, you know what, that might be a guy we kick the tires on and see what the interest level is, see what the fit is. And I think that's part of the reason the visit happened, was to see kind of an interview from both sides. Like, is this fit what you want, and is this fit what we want as a staff? And I think overall they accomplished that, because we know they're very detailed and very selective on just not just the talent, but is it going to fit into our room? And I think this is a guy that seemed to do that.
Especially out of the portal. They're extremely picky out of the portal on individuals. So, Michael, I'm going to do the thing that fans do. You know this. You put out an update on the boards of the premium recruiting board, and there's got 22 kids on there. And the first reply is, what about the 23rd? So, Florida State, are they done at linebacker, or is this was too good to be true, and they still are mining for another veteran, somebody perhaps proven? What do you think?
I mean, as far as in this window, I'm never going to say never, because every time I say never, it's or feel that way, something else pops up. I do think Nakai Hill-Green is one that in May that though I see that's a possibility and likely that FSU could get that kid. And then we talked about the defensive tackle position, the one kid from England that I think likely visits in around the May. So I think there's still some stuff to do, but I think they really wanted to limit and make it a limited portion of what they do in May. And I think they've accomplished that. If you look at every position, you get the Murphy kid. That's the one position we've highlighted that they haven't gotten a guy yet, committed from the portal. And so now you've kind of accomplished that. Now you can kind of fiddle through, like if you want to add another receiver experience-wise, hell, they might even do that in this window with Arizona. There might be some guys that they like there. But overall, I can't say for sure if they're done, but I know they're still prodding and looking and seeing if something's there, if the fit's there. But I would lean towards likely done, but we'll see. But I think those are things that they're looking at, but I don't think they're done as far as the May window. I think there's a few more guys they would like to finish off this, but they have knocked it out of the park, in my opinion, of the positions and the needs and getting really talented guys too.
In the unlikely or perhaps likely event that Florida State is interested, with the coaching dominoes falling around different parts of the country, West Coast, East Coast, if Florida State is interested in that 30-day window of an Arizona player, Washington, Alabama, yet another one, stay tuned here to Warchant TV. Subscribe to the channel. It's always free here. Head over to warchant.com and the premium recruiting board, and Michael will give you updates on the fly as Florida State brings in more kids on campus. Until next time, he's Michael, I'm Tom. Florida State got themselves a linebacker today, folks. And guess what? He plays at Alabama. He's played at a school you heard of. His name's Shawn Murphy. He's the newest Nole. For the latest, head over again to warchant.com, and we will talk to you next time.